Hi, everyone. It is Harmony, Divine Harmony. We just had a little bit of chaos getting into this talk. I had to transition from live stream to Zoom, but we're all here, everybody who was able to transition, and we're diving in. So welcome. Thank you for being here. Thank you for following me from YouTube to Zoom. Thank you to whoever is continuing to come into the room right now. I think this talk will be about an hour. Obviously, it was going to go till 6, but now maybe like 6:15. Pending questions, I'll hang on and answer as many questions as arises. Um, so let's go to the next slide. That's me on the left with the sun at my crown up on in Glastonbury on the tour. And I'm just going to give a brief intro to me. Most of you pretty much know who I am, but I don't know. Sometimes people don't. So I'll just say a few things. And then I'm going to talk about the course coming up starting August 4th, Calling in the Light. I'm going to give information about what's it about, the schedule, different things. Then I'm going to talk about the major astrology. And I'm actually really excited to talk about that because there's some very big things that are coming up in this like second half of summer, from lunar solar Lughnasadh through to the equinox. If you're in the southern hemisphere, it's actually Imbolc to spring. For us in the north, it's Lughnasadh to fall. I'll explain all of that, so don't worry when we get to that. You'll get dialed in. So I do have a special offer for those of you who are here. Talk about it at the end, and then the very end is just Q&A. Any questions you have about the class? Also, if you have any questions about the astrology, I'll take whatever questions. So that's kind of how it's going to flow. So about Divine Harmony, this is a picture here of me on the right-hand side at the Temple of Abydos. Someone actually snapped this of me without me realizing. I was standing in a shaft of light and I look pregnant, pregnant with the light. Anyhow, I'm a mother, a mystic. I'm an initiated priestess in several different traditions. I'm, of course, an astrologer. I do Western astrology, but I also do living sky astrology. So especially if you're aware of my work with Stargate Mystery School, it's not, I don't just look at the tropical zodiac. I look at what's living in the sky and how it shows up, and I weave them together. I write a lot. I teach a lot. It's my happy space. I have my master's degree in depth psychology from Pacifica Graduate Institute. I did 6 years of shadow work training with my teacher, Robert Masters. And I've studied many different spiritual traditions like Hawaiian, which I am Hawaiian by blood, Indian yogic, Mayan, Egyptian, Celtic, shamanic, and more. I'm human and divine, just like we all are. And I also actually have done a lot of psychic studies and channeling studies with my teacher, Lisa Royale Holt. I always mispronounce her name because before I got to know her, her name is spelled Lyssa. And so in my head, I pronounced it differently than it sounds, and I just can't shift it, it seems. Anyhow, and I'm still actually currently studying with her. I'm in an advanced training right now. So all these things inform who I am, what I do. I've been studying astrology for 28 years. I began at 18 at my nodal return, and I've been studying for almost a full Saturn cycle. I've been writing and doing readings for 17 years, and I started at my Saturn return. And then I've been teaching classes and teaching at festivals for the last 14 years. So for the last like half of a Saturn cycle. So Saturn and the nodes are very tied into my calling into astrology. So first, let's talk about calling in the light. This is my little light being, my daughter, Leela. She's like 2 there. She's 13 now. And she was, putting her arms up and having the sun on her head. And I thought it was a cute picture. And so calling in the light is going to be about, calling in the light, both literally, but also shamanically and spiritually and psychologically and physically and emotionally, and talk about that. So both light and shadow are the dance of love. Rumi. And I quote this quote all the time. It's actually I'll be quoting Rumi a lot in this PowerPoint. He's like the best inspiration for light work and also shadow work. So Calling in the Light is a course to serve your journey of enlightenment and embodiment. Shadow work and light work are the yin and the yang of awakening. And I have been teaching astrology in your shadow for 6 years now, actually 5 cohorts. 1 year I skipped because we moved to the East Coast. And in the last 6 years, I've had over 600 students take that class. And many actually will retake it each year and go for another round. And shadow work is focused on healing wounds, pain, and trauma. For healing, integration, for your journey, essentially. Shadow work needs to be balanced with light work and vice versa. Light and shadow are the dance of love. They are 2 sides of the same coin, 2 sides of the yin-yang symbol, if you will. And so where in shadow work, in the shadow class, we've been exclusively focused on looking at the shadow and healing the wounds and trauma and getting into the stuff that's hidden in the unconscious. Light work is about realizing the fullness of your light that you are. It's about, shining, radiating, embracing your gifts, anchoring and embodying the light of your higher self, of the cosmos. And they are 2 parts to the same path, essentially. Another quote that's kind of evokes the same energy as this Rumi quote is by Swami Nisargadatta. And he says, "Wisdom tells me I'm nothing, and love tells me I am everything. And between the 2, my life flows." And so I am nothing, that's our human self, that's our shadow, right? I am everything, that's our divine self, that's our light. And life flows between the 2. They both are the dance of love. And so I kind of see calling in the light as sort of like part 2 to astrology in your shadow. And I will answer the question, do you need to do astrology in your shadow first to do calling in the light? I'll tell you upfront, no, but there's a longer answer to that. And I'll get to that when we get to Q&A. Somebody already emailed that question in. So within you is the light of 1,000 suns, Robert Adams. So the journey is to remember that and to embody it. And that is what this course is going to support you in. So the class, similar to astrology in your shadow, if you've taken that, if you haven't, it's fine. But if you have, you are familiar. We use your chart as a map, right? In astrology in your shadow, it's to see the shadow, to see the trauma, the wounds, the pain, the things that want to be brought to awareness, integrated, healed, brought back into wholeness. And in Calling in the Light, we'll be using your chart as a map, but we'll be using it to see and integrate the light. So we're going to be looking at bodies for, largely that we didn't look at actually in astrology in your shadow. We'll be looking at things like the sun and Venus and Jupiter, the benefics, also Sirius, spiritual son of our sun. We'll be looking at Mercury and the visible angles, the ascendant in the midheaven, your rising sign, and the pinnacle of your chart. We'll also be looking at galactic points like the galactic center, and all these different things we'll be looking at through the course of, 5 live classes, but 8 weeks journeying together. They're like the finger pointing at the moon or pointing at the sun, if you want to say that. And so they're like kind of showing you, the direction to go in, but then you take the journey. The luminosity, the radiance is actually within you. It's just that your chart is a map that can show you, oh, go move in this direction. And that's how we worked with the chart in astrology in your shadow. And that's how we'll be working with it and calling in the light. You don't need to know astrology to participate. If you know astrology, then this course will deepen your studies, that's for sure. But if you don't know anything about astrology, totally fine, because I have really detailed notes and cheat sheets, and I have, I'll have little tutorials, how to find your sun or whatever, and it's very user-friendly. In this course, I actually don't teach chart interpretation and delineation. I teach that in foundations, intermediate series. This is just teaching you to see your gifts and your light and work with them and awaken them and embody them. And you're using astrology as a tool to get there. And I'm going to, give you all the instruction for how to find them. This course is one part teaching. So there will be astrology teachings, but they'll be simple, digestible. You don't need to know your astrology to get it. One part mythology, mysticism, and then one part practices. And so there'll be embodiment practices, guided meditations. We'll be working with dreams, journaling prompts for reflection, community connection, so the sacred space together that we'll all generate as we do the work together. And essentially, this is a course to create a chrysalis, to help generate a chrysalis for your own transformation. And you get as much as you give to it. So you could just show up and watch the classes and get the teachings. You'll definitely learn things, but it's the practices, it's the dream work, it's the meditations, it's the community connection that will actually create the conditions for maximum transformation. And that's exactly how it worked in astrology in your shadow, and it's going to be the same in calling in the light. Nothing can nourish the soul but light. Gosh, Rumi is just so juicy. So enlightenment embodiment, you maybe have heard me say this before, it's the yin and the yang of life. In the solar cycle and the lunar cycle, you actually see these two working together. So in the solar cycle, if you go from winter solstice to summer solstice and then back again and start over, we've got winter to summer. It's the half of the solar cycle that's the ascension of the sun, right? Reaching for the highest light. Summer solstice is the day, or the few days where the sun stands still at the highest point of light, longest day of light, shortest day of night. And then summer to winter is the descension part of the cycle, bringing the light down and in. You can see it in the lunar cycle as well, from new moon to full moon, waxing, growing in light, and then full moon to dark moon, waning, pruning, bringing it within. And so on this journey of healing and awakening, we want to find the right balance of light and shadow, of human and divine, of above and below, of ascension and descension. And astrology in your shadow was literally only focused on the shadow and descending. And you did find light in that shadow class, just like in the yin and yang, right? I should have put a yin and yang symbol on the slide, but in the yin and yang, you'll see like the white part and the black part, but in the white, there's a little dot of black. And in the black, there's a little dot of white. So in astrology in your shadow, we were exclusively focused on the shadow, but we found light. And the same thing can be said for calling in the light, because the light will be coming in and it will also be revealing shadow. They work together. So this class, we will be focusing on working with the light, but of course the whole journey is both and. So when we reach for the light, we have to embody it. Otherwise, we're going to float off the planet and we won't be here. We'll be, transcending and up there, but not like down and in. And so I will be giving, those are parts of why I give the embodiment practices, to make sure it's grounding down and in. It's not just staying as a vision in the head or even, felt in the heart, but that is not actually fully brought down and in. Some of us may actually have like a lot of light in our third eye, our crown, or our heart, but it hasn't come all the way down and in because we haven't fully embodied, which is part of what the shadow work helps you do, is clear out the blockages. That's making it so that the light is having a hard time coming all the way down and in. The goal is full incarnation. So bringing the light of your higher self, of the cosmos, of the universe, of the divine, however you want to conceive of it, all the way down and in. And we will be doing this work in this class. We are vessels of light. And we just have to remember who we are. And then we also have to be open to receive. And this course will, serve that end. This is a picture of me and Joshua Tree. and that was the sun, obviously, behind me. But you can see there's like this pretty, I call it my phoenix wings. It's like a, I don't even know, it looks like a butterfly wing too, but it was refractions of the light of the sun. If everything around you seems dark, look again. You may be the light. So why this light work is important, especially right now, if you just look around at the state of the world, the wars and the discord and the duality and the desecration of land and spirit, we need to call on the light. And if everything around us looks like it's dark, we may be the light that needs to activate so that the light we're seeking is found within. And then we shine and we become these like lighthouses that inspire other people to liberate their light and embody their light. We actually don't need a savior coming from the sky. We need the light to awaken within. We're all sparks of light, just waiting for that moment when we decide to choose our full radiance. And this class will help support your journey if that's what you're called to do. So just some basics, the schedule. You'll see it goes week 1, week 2, and then week 3 is integration week. So the classes are on Sundays, 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern time. Adjust for your time zone accordingly. You can attend live. You can watch after because they'll be posted in the classroom. And then week 3, week 4, an integration week. And then the last week is Sunday, September 15th, and we journey until the equinox together. And then the live course completes on the equinox on September 22nd. So this is just some things I'm giving you, but whenever I teach a new class, I get the structure and I get lots of downloads, and then half of the downloads come in right as I'm leading up to the week of teaching the class. So I can never tell people everything that's going to be in the class because half of it's coming in the moment. I think part of it is just there's like a frequency. Actually, I don't think, I know. Part of it is that whatever's going on astrologically is almost like a portal that opens and brings things in. And the energy of the moment has to be tapped in order to have certain things come through. That's all I can say. So anyhow, week 1, we're going to be working with the sun in Sirius. We're going to be working with solar deities, the element of fire. So each week there's an element we're focusing on. Week 2, the visible angles in the chart, the ascendant, the midheaven, and the north node of destiny, and working with the element of earth. And then we have that break on August 18th, Sunday the 18th, and that week is a break for integration and catching up. And then week 3, we work with Mercury, the winged messenger, the parts of spirit and the part of fortune, the element of air. And then week 4, we have the 2 benefics, Venus and Jupiter, the great lights. And we'll be working with the 5th and the 11th houses, which are the houses of good fortune and good spirit. And the element of water, which Venus is in rulership in Pisces and Jupiter is exalted in Cancer. And so water is very connected to the 2 benefics. And then we close, we have our second break of September 8th. And then the last week, we'll be working with the galactic lights, like the galactic center and the supergalactic center and the galactic family of light and the element of ether. So that's kind of the overview of the schedule. We'll be working with lots of practices. And so just so you're aware, they're recommended, not required. I give different things and you get to choose what speaks to you or resonates. You can do all of it, or you could just do 1 or 2 things. You really want to feel into your own, body awareness and soul spirit and tune into what feels right for you. And I'm always in support of that. So we will be doing different things. I have them listed here. We'll be working with breath work. There'll be yoga movement pieces, meditations every week, working with sound and toning. We'll have tarot and crystal prompts. If you're interested in working with those, you don't have to. Journaling prompts. There'll be rituals given for you to do, dream work and dream incubation. And then the community space, which will only be open during the live class. So it'll be open a week before class starts, so people can come in, say hi, start getting, grounded. And then it'll run through September 22nd, and then it'll be taken down. So it's just a space for us as we're journeying together. And you share, you witness. I will be present in the community space, reading, commenting throughout the course, similar to astrology in your shadow. So we will be working with Kundalini energy in this class, but in balanced ways. So I'm not going to be giving any practices that are very aggressive, activating Kundalini practices. I actually don't believe in that. I think you can blow your fuse and you can create a lot of problems, actually, if you try and activate Kundalini with your will and ego, if you're not fully ready for it. So what we do is we create the conditions and we open and we surrender. And then Kundalini can come in and through or awaken, or however you want to visualize it, descending or ascending, both and in her own way, in a way that's going to have a lot more grace and ease than our egos and our wills would even know how to ask for. So that will be part of the course. There's notes and practices as PDF downloads. The guided meditations are all downloadable and accessible in the classroom. And yeah, your body is woven from the light of heaven. Rumi. So if our bodies are woven from the light of heaven, then it's not about finding light, right? It's about remembering that we are light. We're already light. It's just like, what is covering it? Where are we forgetting? And one of the ways I like to kind of feel into and understand this is with babies. Babies are born and oh my God, they have so much purity and so much light in their eyes, right? It's why people love babies. They're just these little pure light beings that just came in, and there's no conditioning yet, and there's no trauma and wounds and shutting down or forgetting. And then we go through life and things happen, and we have wounds and we have pain or trauma. We forget, we shut down, we disconnect from our light. And so this is work of reclaiming it, reclaiming that original purity and innocence, but not going back to being a baby because we're adults now, right? So it's about doing that from our adult self. So with the maturity, with the boundaries and grounding and mastery of our adult self, we return back to the pure inner child. And you can even see this in the tarot, actually. The Sun card, probably would have been good to put that here, but anyhow, the Sun card shows a little baby like shining on a horse. And it's like returning to that purity and innocence, but as adult me integrated, not regressing and going back to baby. So we'll be working with imagery and psychology teachings around that actually throughout the course. So payment options, you can pay in full, 444, and get my master classes on the Age of Aquarius, Sirius, the spiritual son of our sun, and 88 Lionsgate as free gifts. The 2-month and 3-month payment plan options are available. This is the free gift thing. If you sign up this weekend or by the end of the day, Monday, July 15th, you can get $44 off. So use the coupon code LIGHT44. And I have all these links, and I just cut off. Somebody got cut off from Zoom. Sorry, I'm just seeing that. There's all these links that I have that I'm just gonna put in there because some of them I haven't even talked about yet, but I don't want to keep going back and forth between this. So hopefully you can see all that. All right, and I'll be getting a question soon. So also, if you haven't taken Astrology in Your Shadow and you're brand new to me or to taking the whatever, just brand new, not having taken that class, if you sign up for Calling in the Light, you can get Astrology in Your Shadow on demand for 111 off, 111. It goes for 444. So you have to email me for this though, because I didn't know how to set it up. So just email me and I'll help you with that. So if you wish for light, be ready to receive light. So again, as I said, we're vessels, right? We are vessels of light. We are meant to receive the light, but we have to be open to receive. And we actually have to be working with things in our system, different systems, in our body, in our psyche, in our spirit, not really our spirit, but our body, psyche, mind, to create the conditions for the light to fully descend. And, this is work of, by the way, lifetimes. So it's not something you'll have completely figured out in 6 weeks. And I would never say that. We're all on a journey of many lifetimes. But it is to support you in that. So here's just a few testimonials, which I literally I have a bunch of them, and I searched for the term light. You'll see that. Studying with you has been profoundly impactful for me. It's been so enlightening learning these archetypes and perspectives. Harmony, you're truly such a gift to this world. Thank you, Tamara. As a veteran light worker with decades of conscious work, the information and energy you bring is taking me to such a deeper perspective. I am so grateful. Thank you, Peggy. And just one more, Troy. I think Troy might be here. I love working with you. Your teachings resonate on such a deep level with me. Thank you for being such an amazing light in this world. So thank you for the beautiful testimonials from my students and clients. So another Rumi to inspire you, a pure heart open to the light will be filled with the elixir of truth. So to purify our hearts is really to just remember who we really are, because we all have pure hearts. And again, the shadow work helps excavate the wounds and pain that block the light from coming in, but the light work helps us bring the light all the way down and in, the light of our higher selves, the universe of spirit. The Bible actually says, "Blessed are the pure of heart, for they shall see God." And in the Grail myths, you often will hear that only certain people who are pure of heart could see the Grail. So this seeing God, or the Grail, seeing spirit in ourselves, others, and the world around us, is what a pure heart allows us to do. And Mahatma Gandhi actually said, "To a pure heart, all hearts are pure." So we all have it. It's just unburying it. Seeing the light within helps us see it without, as within, so without. So now I'm going to talk about the astrology, because there's phenomenal astrology. The picture on the right-hand side is actually of Sekhmet Mut. It's from the Temple of Mut in Karnak. Karnak is the big temple, and there's actually a Sekhmet temple in Karnak with a black Sekhmet that's standing, and she's amazing. But then around the back is this other smaller temple called the Temple of Mut, and Mut is the mother goddess. And there's a version of Sekhmet called Sekhmet Mut. And you can tell the difference because Sekhmet, when it's just Sekhmet, she's standing. And when she's seated, she's Sekhmet Mut in the lap of the mother. And so that's Sekhmet Mut with the sun behind her. I love that picture. Anyhow, so we will be starting our course together. Our first class is actually on Sunday, August 4th, and it's timed with the new moon, which is at, I forget the time, 7:13 that morning, Eastern time. And our class is at 2 p.m. So we're in this new moon cycle that's Leo, the lion, the sun, Leo's ruled by the sun. That's actually a very powerful portal, because followed 2 days later is solar Lughnasadh, which is one of the 8 gates of the sun. They correspond to the solstices, the equinoxes, and the cross-quarter days, the midpoints between them. Where I mentioned earlier, summer solstice is the highest point of light, literally, longest day. I was just in Scotland, and the sun did not set until 11 something at night. And it actually never got to full darkness. It always stayed nautical twilight, which is really wonky because I'm very light sensitive. And so I have a hard time sleeping if there's light in the sky. I had to wear a mask and put a pillow over my head just to sleep. And they actually had curtains that mostly blocked the light out, but little bits of light would come through and it would just wake me up. Anyhow, so at summer solstice, it's the highest point of light. And at the North Pole or the South Pole, when you have your summer solstice, but you didn't just have it because you just had your winter, the sun doesn't set. So the sun is up constantly, 24/7. So this energy of massive light, maximum light is summer solstice. The next solar gateway after summer solstice is Lughnasadh. It's the midpoint between summer and fall. And where summer solstice is the gate of ascension and enlightenment, reaching for the highest light, just as the sun is doing in the highest point in the sky by declination. At solar Lughnasadh, we actually have the sun starting to descend. And the solar Lughnasadh gate is the gate of sacrifice and harvest. It's actually the first of 3 harvest festivals traditionally, particularly back in the day before now you can harvest anything at any time of the year. We're a little, we're not cycling with nature the way we did like a couple hundred years ago. But anyhow, so it is a harvest festival, but it's also the sun is sacrificing itself. It's sending its light into the grains and the fruits and the nuts that we'll be harvesting, that we'll be eating and storing for winter. And so there is this energy between summer solstice and Lughnasadh, where the light, the highest light we reach for, we now are starting to bring it down to Earth as we see the sun descend. And the whole second part of the solar cycle is that light that we've reached, the highest light, bringing it all the way down and in. I call the first half of the cycle, of the solar cycle, the cycle of ascension and enlightenment. Second half is descension and embodiment. We take the light and we bring it down and in. And so we've got the new moon, 2 days later, solar Lughnasadh, 2 days later, Lionsgate, 8/8 Lionsgate. And I have a whole masterclass on that. And there's a lot to say about that. I'm not going to say that right now because I want to get into other things. And we will also have the Heliacal Rise of Sirius happening. It's actually on 8/8 in Giza in Egypt, but it varies based on your location. And in week 1, I'll be teaching you how to find it in your location. We'll all be going out on the land to see if we can see the Heliacal Rise of Sirius, notice when it's first visible, and we'll be working with Sirius. And so this is like the opening portal for the class, timed intentionally, like I did it on purpose. So here's the new moon chart. So new moon in Leo, 13 degrees rounding up. And there's this amazing vessel formed in the new moon chart. I have it cast for Asheville because that's where I live, but you can cast it wherever you want. It'll show up in different houses, but the aspects will be the same. So we've got the sun and the moon in Leo, trine the north node of destiny. And then we have Mars and Jupiter, and Mars is approaching Jupiter in Gemini, trining the south node in Libra. So we have the 2 nodes, north node of destiny, south node of karma, north node of future, south node of past, harmoniously being linked by the new moon and the Mars-Jupiter conjunction. And it's creating a vessel. If you see these 2 here, this point here, this point here, it's like a chalice or a vessel. The opening is pointing in this direction. So it kind of looks like it's upside down in this new moon chart. But it's like creating this vessel, which is what we are, and how we call in the light, is working with our own vessel. And it just is very auspicious. And it's very supportive in being the vessel for the light to descend into. Leo is amazing because it's the sign of the sun. And we don't just have the sun and moon in Leo. Vesta, the priestess asteroid goddess, is there. Venus is at 29 Leo and is going to align with Regulus, the royal fixed star of leadership. So we have a lot of Leo. Part of fortune is in Leo, but the part of fortune is always conjunct the ascendant at the new moon. So whatever the ascendant is, you're going to see the part of fortune there. Because it's the part of fortune is cast with the positions of the sun and the moon and the location you're at. So we've got this amazing new moon that's opening this portal. And then these are some of the other like very big things happening. So first of all, Mercury will be retrograde. And he stations the day after our first class, but don't worry, I'm preparing for it. So I'm one of the things I do with Mercury retrograde is I prepare for problems. I remember once I was actually filming when I used to film for 108, a yoga website, and I did like astrology stuff for them. And the guy came to film me, and it was the first time I was filming with him. And Mercury had literally just stationed retrograde, and I was like, yeah, there's probably going to be problems. And he like had all these problems getting his car, getting to me. We ended up starting like 3 hours later than we're supposed to. Luckily, I'd told my babysitter that I thought we're going to run late, so she was already ready to like get my daughter ready for bed and put her to sleep. And the guy was frazzled. He was just like, this was so stressful. And I was just like, oh yeah, I kind of had a feeling. And he's like, boy, you're not, feeling super stressed. And I was like, well, I mean, the astrology. And he's like, can you please teach me about this? And it turned out that he would often have issues when Mercury is retrograde. So I started giving him a heads up so he could prepare. So I prepare. But what Mercury retrograde is amazing for is taking the mind and diving in and down and going deep. And Mercury retrograde is very shamanic. And Mercury will station in Virgo in like 4 or 5 degrees Virgo, I think, and goes back to Leo, 21, 22 Leo, and will go over Regulus, the royal fixed star of leadership. And Regulus used to be in Leo, but just precessed and moved into Virgo in 2012. The Leo-Virgo axis, you can actually see in the archetype of the goddess Sekhmet, because she's a lioness with a head of a lion, but she has the body of a woman, Virgo, Leo-Virgo. And Leo is, about shining and radiance and leadership. But it needs to be balanced with Virgo, with humility, with commitment to service, right? Not being a leader who serves, being a servant. And so we have Mercury retrograde supporting us. We also have the first of the 3 Jupiter-Saturn squares. And this is huge because it's kind of the first intense checkpoint of the Jupiter-Saturn cycle that began with the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction at 0 Aquarius in December of 2020. My whole Age of Aquarius webinar actually was born out of that energy. And the Age of Aquarius is very much present now. So I know there's a lot of arguments about when does it happen? When does it start? The ancient way that the people calculated ages was not by casting a chart and seeing where the sun was at the moment of spring equinox. It was actually seeing what was rising before the sun on spring equinox. And Aquarius has been rising before the sun since 1500. So it makes sense too, because we've had all these very Aquarian, airy technology things, planes and 5G and Wi-Fi and whatever, astronauts going to outer space. It's all very Aquarian kind of energy. You can learn more about that in my masterclass. So the first of 3 Jupiter-Saturn squares. Jupiter is in Gemini, Saturn's in Pisces. That first square is August 19th. We'll be in our class together. Jupiter in Gemini is amazing for coming back to beginner's mind, for learning new things, being open-minded, being the student. Jupiter classically is teacher, and even Jupiter and Saturn, they're both called the guru planets, the teacher planets. But Gemini is the perpetual student, the one who's always learning. And I think it's so important as a teacher to constantly be also learning and learning from other people, deferring, so that I have a teacher I study from. I'm not just doing all the teaching. And Jupiter in Gemini is amazing for that. And Saturn in Pisces is very interesting transit, because Saturn in embodied astrology is like the root chakra. It's like grounding you into reality. And Pisces is like uber mystical and can be very floaty and transcendent. And so Saturn in his highest in Pisces is helping us ground and embody the light and the mystical transcendent energies of Pisces and bring them down and in, bring our dreams and visions into manifestation, masterfully work with the mystical energies of Pisces instead of floating up and out, coming down and in. So that is going to be happening. We have a seasonal blue moon, August 19th as well, same day as that square. It's the season, there's 3 types of blue moons. There's a calendric blue moon, when there's 2 full moons in 1 calendar month. And it's really kind of pointless because our calendar is obscure and not connected to anything in nature. It, was created and is not really, I don't love it. Anyhow, so there's the calendric blue moon, which is not what we're having. There's the seasonal blue moon. That's when we have 4 full moons in a season, and the third of the 4 is called the seasonal blue moon. And then there's an astrological blue moon, and that's when you have 2 full moons in a sign. And the funny thing is, we're having that this month in July, because we had June 21st was the full moon right after the solstice at the 1st degree Capricorn. It was 108 Capricorn. July 21st, we have a full moon at 29 Capricorn. So we get an astrological blue moon in July, and then we get a seasonal blue moon in August. And if you've heard of blue moons and how it's like once in a blue moon, it's supposed to be special. It's supposed to be, rare things that can happen that are like rare events. It has that kind of symbolism. So we've got that going on. We also have Uranus stationing retrograde on September 1st, same day as Pluto going back into 29 Capricorn for the last hurrah. And Uranus is actually stationing with Algol. So I've seen a lot of posts about this. I've seen some really negative posts too, because Algol is called the demon star. It's thought to be the most malefic star in the sky. But you need to understand the myth. So it's connected to Medusa. And Medusa, if you know who that is this woman who was a Gorgon, and she had snakes in her hair, and she could turn man to stone. Well, you need to know the backstory. Medusa used to be a very beautiful, devoted priestess. She was a priestess of Athena in Athena's temple. And in the story, Poseidon sees her, thinks she's attractive, rapes her. She didn't want it. And then Athena gets mad at her and victim shames her and turns her into a Gorgon with snakes for hair as a punishment. So it's like a horrible story. Pisses me off, actually. Of course, there's more things to reclaim about Athena, because that's definitely a patriarchal version of Athena. So Algol is the star that's connected. It's seen as like the eye of Medusa, and it's in the Perseus constellation. He's the destructive hero that goes around killing things. Cetus, Medusa, he's just kind of slaying everywhere he goes. Now, Medusa comes from the Sanskrit word medha, and medha means sovereign female wisdom, guardian and protectress, the one who knows, and the one who rules. She was ancient, deeply wise and powerful figure. And actually, Joseph Campbell, he's a mythologist who passed away in 1987, actually, in Hawaii when I was there. I think we lived close to each other. He said that the Greeks used the Medusa story, the modern version that we hear today, as a means to justify the destruction of an ancient goddess mother tradition. And she actually was a powerful leader of an ancient, older matriarchal religion. And by decapitating her, which is what Perseus does, they obliterated her and obliterated the goddess religion. So rethink your story around Algol and Uranus. The rebel and revolutionary and great awakener with Algol, to me, is actually about waking up to the older myths that were there before and who she really was. Not this demonization, this patriarchal telling of a story. And Anyhow, if you like this kind of content, Stargate Mystery School is like all about that. I actually taught that in Stargate. So also on September 1st, we have Pluto going back into Capricorn, 29 Capricorn. What old paradigms are we still holding on to? The patriarchal paradigms that are toxic and stagnant and stuck and not life affirming, actually maybe even death affirming. And Pluto will move into Aquarius, tropical Aquarius for good as of November 19th. So from September 1st until November 19th, we get our last pass of Pluto at 29 Capricorn. And in those links I posted, there is a blog that I wrote exclusively about that, so you can read it. And then last but not least, as you can see, this period of time packs a punch. We have a partial lunar eclipse in Pisces. Conjunct Neptune, September 17th, initiating us into the eclipse portal. There'll be a solar eclipse in October, and it's a lunar eclipse in Pisces, conjunct Neptune in Pisces. This is the fourth full moon of summer, or of winter if you live in the southern hemisphere. And it's a very transpersonal lunation. The full moon is actually sextile Uranus, conjunct Neptune, and sextile Pluto. So all three outer planets, higher mind, higher love, higher power, linking with this lunar eclipse. It's Pisces conjunct Neptune. It can be very magical, mystical, intuitive. It is a North Node eclipse. The North Node will be in Aries, but it's on the North Node. And that'll be like the last few days of our journey together. And I really feel that this portal is going to prepare us for the upcoming Mars retrograde that's happening December 6th. He stations December 6th. His front and shadow begins early October. For us in the United States of America, the presidential election will be happening in the front and shadow. Will also be happening with Pluto at 29 Capricorn. And my articles in the United States Astrology, part 1, part 2, are also linked. I just put them in the comments. I'll put all those links again if anybody's like coming in here and didn't see them. So, you know, I think for my country, I want to call in light simply for that. But also just, I mean, take a look around. You can take your pick of things that's heartbreaking and heart-wrenching that's happening right now. And one of the best things we can do is our inner work, you know, our shadow work, our light work, because it creates the conditions within ourselves to be more clear and grounded and embodied here now, be here now, as Ram Dass says. Also makes us less capable of being manipulated. When you're fully in your body, your intuition is on point. You feel your body wisdom tells you what's true, what's not true, and it helps orient you. And both shadow work and light work can help us on that journey. So we've got like really big astro incoming, and it should be a fascinating journey ahead. So this is a poem by Marianne Williamson. You probably heard it, but you can hear it again. So here we go. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God, goddess, all that is. I added that. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We were born to make manifest the glory of God, goddess, all that is within us. And it's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. So that is a poem to inspire you to shine your light. Rumi also says, respond to every call that excites your spirit. So if this course and content excites your spirit, I hope you will come join me and all the star brothers, sisters, beings who are joining in this calling in the light. And that's me in Ojai, looking at the sun, calling in the light, in priestess pose. I'll talk about that in the class. And I think now it's Q&A. So let me just get all these links again and put them in here. How long will we have access to the classes? Indefinitely. So anytime you take a course with me, it's in my Kajabi online classroom, and then that class is always there. And the videos you have to watch in the classroom, but the notes, the practices, the meditations, the cheat sheets, those are all downloadable. So let me see. There were a few questions that people emailed me, so I'm going to just answer those first right now. And then if you have any questions, please just pop them in the little chat box. So let me do these ones first, though. They might be what your question was. You can also ask a question about the astrology if you want. Do you need to do astrology in your shadow before calling in the light? So I sort of gave the short answer earlier. The answer is no, but they're both recommended as they are two sides to the same coin, as I mentioned. Too much focus on the light without balance of shadow work will have us spiritually bypassing and going up and out and not being here. But too much focus on shadow without the balance of the light will have us stuck in, just always looking at and dealing with the wounds, the pain, and the trauma. We want to have both. We want to hold each in both hands. If you haven't taken astrology in your shadow, or if you haven't done any shadow work and you want to take calling in the light, I will be providing a few practices in the first class to utilize throughout the course, so that if you ever start feeling ungrounded or lightheaded or floaty, you will have things to bring you back down and root and ground. They're important. And even if you did take astrology in your shadow, those are probably going to be coming in handy. If you have taken astrology in your shadow, you know all the other practices and you can use them and utilize them through the course as needed as well. And again, you don't have to take astrology in your shadow. My class, like if you've done shadow work and worked with another teacher, wonderful. So just to be clear, I'm not saying it's only my class counts. Will this be offered live again? I don't know. So I can't really say. I sort of am at this place where I have more new classes I want to teach than I have time to teach, as well as reteach other classes. So typically I will teach a new class with the intention of maybe this is the only time I'll teach it, and then it will become available on demand. The difference between on demand and taking it live is there's a lot of connection and sacred space that we hold together in the crucible of the class together in the live journey. And I'm very present, all the shares that you share in the classroom page, I read, I comment on, other people will comment on. There are Q&As. I thought I had that on a slide. So there's 3 Q&As. There's one for week 1 and 2, one for week 3 and 4, one for week 5. And there'll be a separate section in the class where personal chart questions or personal questions about practices you post in there. And then I will record the Q&A and post it. It's possible that I might be able to do them live, but right now I'm juggling child care stuff. So right now I'm going to record them and post them, but everybody's questions will be able to be posted, included. And then the live class, of course, on Sundays, we're all going to be connecting in the live space, and then we will be also connecting in the classroom space or the community space. When will your next live course be? So I'm doing a tarot course in 2025. It's going to be a year-long course of studying the tarot. The Goddess Series Part 2, I might be doing this October, November. I did Alchemy of the Asteroid Goddesses sometime recently. Sorry, I don't remember when I did it. It was in the last year. And that was looking at Ceres and Juno and Pallas Athena and Vesta. And then I have a part 2 and a part 3 of the Goddess series in the works. I just haven't put them out yet. But I might actually do a midlife crisis transit course first, because I've gotten through them. I had to wait. I'm like, I have to get through the Pluto square, the Neptune square, and the Uranus opposition before I can teach a class on it. You know, I need to live it and experience it fully. And then I've, of course, worked with clients and students who've been through it. And now I feel sufficiently ground down by the outer planets through the midlife crisis transits that I actually feel like it's the course is ready to be taught. So that might actually happen this fall instead of part 2 of the Goddess course. I'm not really sure yet. So I also have in the works giving some kind of masterclass series on giving a reading, like literally going through my whole process of how I prepare a chart, how I see what's in the chart, how I give the reading. I've had many students ask for something like that. And so that's sort of on the shelf too. So those were all the questions that were given to me. Now I'm just gonna actually remove this because you don't really need to see the share anymore. You can just look at me. Hi. All right. So oh, and to be clear, I'm not going to answer any personal transit, personal astrology questions in the chat. So general stuff about the astrology I just talked about or about the class, all great. It's just, sorry, I should have been clear up front. I'll be away a few of the weeks of the class, so you'll be sending the taped classes. So the classes will be recorded and they'll be immediately put up in the classroom space, usually that same evening. It just depends on Zoom because sometimes Zoom takes a long time to get the download to me. But then it's available to watch when you're able to. So yes, the classes will be recorded and watchable. For some reason, I cannot copy and paste your links from the chat. Can you click on them? I'm curious. I have no idea why that's the case. That's so weird. Meeting group chat. Did I send them correctly? I wonder if you can click on them like one at a time and they'll just open, then you can save them. But yeah, I'll also send it out. So don't worry. Let's see. August 14th, a hearing. Need to know all the research we've done, never having. I'm not sure what that says, but it sounds like it's a personal question. So I won't be able to answer it because I need to see your chart and the charts of whoever or whatever's going on. It sounds like you're having a legal thing happen on the 14th. So many blessings on navigating that. Yes, please. I don't know what that was. Currently in Uranus opposite. Oh, you're talking about the midlife crisis transits. Oh my God. Jeez Louise. Yeah, they were fun. I feel sufficiently pulverized and still standing. So yay. Yes, can click on them. They open. Yeah, thanks for sending the email. Yes, I'll definitely do that. So are there any other questions? I'm just scrolling up just in case anybody said anything up above and I didn't see it. How long will we have? Oh no, I answered that. Sorry. How long will we have access to the classes? Indefinitely. Oh yeah, Nina. So I can't really go over the planet positions of August 14th through 19th, but I will tell you, I write weekly forecasts very in depth. And August 14th will be up on either the 11th or the 12th. I'll have that up. And you'll be able to see it there. So sorry. Love all your classes. Looking forward to calling in the light. Yes, thank you. Did you find someone to help take notes? Oh, so a couple people I asked, I have enough people who email me about the notes. So this is only to the people who've already responded to me. I sent it out in a newsletter that I needed somebody to help do the notes and then do it for trade. And I will email people. I have had a lot going on this week, so I need to do that. And I will get back to you if you emailed me. I think you did email me, right, Kelly? but nobody else emailed me because I have enough people that email me. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to the class. It's just this portal of astrology is very powerful, and it's always amazing to do this kind of work when you're riding on the frequencies of whatever's going on. It's it's part of why I personally like to teach attuning to frequencies. It's why my different master classes like Age of Aquarius or Sirius or Lionsgate, they've always been timed with whatever is resonant with the energy, because I sort of like conceive of it as like a wave that's building and you can like ride it. And so we'll be riding the solar Leo lioness portal with Sirius and all these different things that will be unfolding in this time. Will serve our journey together, and it's always interesting to see what comes in, what comes through, the dreams people have. Oh my God, it's part of one of my favorite parts of teaching when we're doing this kind of work is the dream work, and just seeing how the frequencies and the messages come through each people's, individual unique dream spaces. Personally, I see dreams as messages direct from spirit, and I love dreams. So anyhow, we're gonna have fun. And yeah, I think that's everything. Yeah, it's been about an hour. So I'm just putting the links one more time. I will be sending this video out for people to watch or rewatch. And I'm gonna have to figure out, I guess I'll post it on my YouTube channel, but I don't know if I can put it on I don't know what happened with the live stream. It just didn't work. Do I have a class that helps learn a better way to interpret planetary positions with one's chart? Yes, I do, actually. In under other classes with DH, Foundations of Astrology teaches the basics in depth. So the planets, signs, houses, aspects, and that's the beginning level of really starting to understand a chart. And then the intermediate series, which is level 1 and 2 nested together, it's like 8 weeks, teaches you how to take those foundational aspects and start working with them through chart reading, delineation, transits, progressions, returns, other things. So yes, I do teach astrology and how to read charts and delineation in those classes that are just about teaching astrology. These other classes all use astrology as like one of the tools. So it's like astrology is like a language that they're coming in on, but the class itself is about so much more than just astrology. If that makes any sense. So anybody else have any questions? If not, we can wrap it up. And I just want to say thank you for being with me on a Friday evening, and thank you for following me from what happened. I subscribe to these links on your site. Oh yeah, all of these you can find, like the USA. If you just go to my website and search in the search box, USA Pluto return, or USA transformation of a nation, or Pluto at 29 Capricorn, all of that'll come up. The Kajabi store, actually, you know what? Here, let me just show you. I'm going to show you guys my website real quick and show you where you can find all this. It's really easy. It's taking a second. Here we go. Share screen. Here we go. So over here under work with me, all my astrology classes are there. You can learn about the divine feminine and shadow work there. There's other things here under membership. Oh, that's about your membership. Where is, oh yes, here we go. Membership login. So that's if you're a member on my website. I do horoscopes and different things. Classroom login will log you into the Kajabi online classroom. I think, will it take me there? Yeah, it'll actually, I'm already logged in, so it took me straight there. But once you log in, you can actually click on store and you can see all the classes that are available. Please note, there's actually a couple, I think Regulus and maybe also Lionsgate. And the Alchemy, the Asteroid Goddesses are not on my actual website yet because I haven't had time to set up the pages. But you can purchase the class on demand through Kajabi, which is why I gave both of those links in the links. So yeah, let me see. Got here right at the end. Oh no, I'm so sorry. Were you trying for YouTube? We had problems. Thank you from New Zealand. I love New Zealand. I went there when I was like maybe 12 or 13 or something with my dad. Actually, I might have been like 11. I just remember feeling like the land was magic and full of sheep. I loved the sheep. Also from New Zealand. Oh, you both are so blessed. It's a very beautiful, beautiful sacred land. Thank you so much. I loved your astrology and your shadow course. I was in the first cohort. Yay. Oh my God. The first one, 2019. You know, the second one was like right when COVID began. We started class and then boom, COVID. It was crazy. And everybody was like, boy, am I glad I have this right now because I'm stuck at home and I can't do anything. It was interesting timing, you know, anyhow. I'd love to take your class on how to do a chart reading. Can't wait. Looking forward to calling in the light. Okay, thank you, Amy. Yeah, I need to figure out I sort of need to just prioritize what's coming first, second, and third. It's all like there. And so I'm just, but the tarot course I know is happening next year. We are so blessed. Oh, yay, the New Zealand people are connecting. Another New Zealand. Wow, amazing. I also, by the way, I tried to time this class so that it worked in as many time zones as possible. So 2 p.m. Eastern time is 11 a.m. Pacific time and 7 p.m. UK time. What time is it in New Zealand? I remember just trying to find that one sweet spot where everybody, okay, well, it's 10:20 for you now, but it's also 6 now. So we have to subtract 4 hours. So it'll be 6 a.m. for you. I don't know if you're a morning owl, which is what I like to call it because I love owls, but I'm a morning owl. I will wake up at 3 or 4 happily, but I don't want to stay up till 3 or 4. I start feeling like whacked out if I stay up too late, but I love waking early. So I think the class, it sounds like the class is going to be at 6 a.m. for you. But if you're a morning person, 4 a.m. in Sydney, I'm sorry, James. 4 a.m. I guess is better than 1 a.m. or whatever. What time was the other class? It was the middle of the night. Yeah, it was 12. Yes, it was 12. It was like, it was 2 a.m. for you. Oh, so I made it a little later. Sorry. Let's see. Hold on. I'm scrolling up because people are saying things. I was in the first cohort. I had to stop because my father passed. I'm so sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry. I hope that you maybe have been able to return to work with the things that are still, you know, because the content's still there and that it supported your journey. I'm sorry to hear that. Hi from Martha's Vineyard. I've been there. I like it there. It's very beautiful and also quite magical. I loved your shadow class. I feel like this light class is needed at this time in our world. I know. I mean, that's why, I mean, I said this at the beginning before I was recording, so I sort of I need to just explain myself again. But that when I was doing that clearing of the energy before coming in to do this class, it was like, whoa, there was so much energy to clear. And it felt like because this type of work is really needed. I will tell you the same thing happens every time I offer astrology in your shadow. It's like clockwork. Every time I'm going to teach that class and I'm starting to promote it, all kinds of problems with the website, with the communications. I remember one year I hired somebody to help me make Facebook ads because I was like, oh, I'll try it. I told her what I did. I found her on Fiverr and she had great reviews. And she made me ads, and luckily I figured out how to check them before they went live. And she gave keywords for my class, which is how you seek people, right? You know, so keywords should be like probably astrology, shadow work, psychology. She put keywords, dark souls, panic, anxiety. Those were the keywords she put for my class. I was just like, oh my God. So it's a very interesting experience when I'm launching courses, the level of energy work that I have to do. I have to up level it many levels. And I do it, I call in Sekhmet, she's there, she's helping me. But today really surprised me. I wasn't expecting that thick of intense energy, and I guess it translated into the YouTube problems. But anyhow, when we started class, the field was clear. So let me see, 12 hours ahead of UK. Wait, I'd love to join the tarot class. That'll be next year. We're 1 hour ahead of GMT. Oh, 12 hours of GMT. Okay, so 7 to 7. So it'll be, if it's 7 p.m. UK, it'll be 7 a.m. your time, but the next day. But it will be on a Monday, I guess. So will you give us a way to clear energy before the class? We will actually be talking about that in the class, and we'll be working with the different elements in clearing energy. We'll be working with the different clair gifts, like clairaudience, clairvoyance, clairsentience, the different psychic gifts. There's like so much that's come in for the class, so I'm like structuring it all now. But yes, we'll be working with that. I will tell you, one of the most important things for clearing energy is being grounded. You can't be floaty and transcendent and clear energy because your power center is down here in your lower body, in your dantian, your hara, your womb, the grail of power, as I call it in embodied astrology. And that's the place where your solar plexus puts out this field of golden light and protects you. And so like embodiment and somatic work is really important for clearing energy. Anyhow, we'll talk about it more in class. Bring in the light, time to clean up the energetic cesspool. Chart interpretation, sign me up. Yes, you can find that in the link that was over there. So I will be sending out, I'm a stenographer, happy to do transcripts for class. Will you email me, Catherine? To dhassistant13@gmail.com. There. Thank you. Very cool job, stenographer. So I will be sending this out. I'm figuring out what I'm doing with it. I'm going to probably get it on my YouTube channel, but I don't know if it's going to be on the original link. It might just be a new thing uploaded. I have to figure that out. And I'll send it out probably tomorrow. Honestly, I think I need to unplug from tech. So I'll send it out tomorrow morning. The coupon code is light 44. And when you go in to, sign up, register for the class, whether you do 1 month, 2 month, or 3 month payment plan, you use that coupon code. You need to make sure you put it in, because if you forget, it's way harder for refunds, and I still get charged fees from PayPal and Stripe, and it's just kind of a mess. So please use the coupon code. Don't forget it. And I'll remind you in the email. And yeah, I think I'm complete. I think we're all complete. Let me stop this share. If there's any last final question, I'm happy to answer it. Otherwise, I will say, let me just say something about right now. So this morning, Jupiter aligned with the nodes of destiny. Jupiter sextile the north node, trine the south node. And Mercury triggered it all Monday, Tuesday. And Vesta, the priestess asteroid goddess, is triggering it tomorrow and this weekend and into the beginning of next week. And remember, Jupiter in Gemini is amazing for coming back to beginner's mind, that place of openness. Also, keep in mind, Gemini is the twins. It's one of the mutable signs. So there's, we see it as the two boy twins, but actually it used to be a woman and a man. It was the divine couple. You can see it actually that way on the ceiling of Dendera in Egypt. It was a man and a woman. And it's holding the opposites, the tension of the opposites, that's what Gemini can help us do. And that holding of both and, of shadow and light, of this and that, of, feminine and masculine, of Democrat and Republican, whatever, the opposites you want to conceive of, holding them both and then finding the bridge so that we don't stay divided, that we come into union within ourselves first and foremost, but then extend that out into the world. Like that's what we're wanting to create, is more bridges, more unity, more cohesion, more harmony. And that is a really important piece that needs to happen. And in this course, we will be, working on our end of that. What can we do, right? Because that Hermetic maxim, as above, so below, as within, so without, as the universe, so the soul. So we work on our level below, within my soul, and that affects without, above the universe. And it also happens vice versa. They inform each other. So anyhow, that's in the frequency right now, and you can see the rest of the weekly forecast on my website. So yeah, we will complete now. Thank you for being with me, and I hope to see you in class, and sending lots of love. Bye.